Hello, everybody. I'm Senay Ataselim. I'm the Executive Director of Turkish Philanthropy Funds. And today I'll be your host, stepping in for Didem Altup. I'm very excited to have Young Guru Academy with us today as our guest at Voices of Partners. Before we get started, I'd like to share our guests' backgrounds. We have two amazing young women with us today. Both are very impressive. Duygu Gençoğlu is the Vice President of YGA, and she leads the Science Movement Project at YGA. She joined the organization as a volunteer back in 2015, bringing her diverse background and stepping up the ranks pretty fast, becoming the Vice President of the organization. Her energy and innovative muscle have contributed to the growth of the organization. It's wonderful to have you with us today, Duygu. And Ece also joined YGA as a volunteer and now has a successful career that spans from Boston to London to New York. She's currently a consultant at Ernst & Young in New York. Thank you for joining us today, Ece. Today, we will love to first learn about YGA, its mission and vision, and then dive deep into the Science Movement Project. Duygu, let me start with you. Your journey with YGA starts as a volunteer. Can you walk us through your journey? What appealed to you at YGA that you decided to continue your professional career there?
Of course. First of all, thank you so much for the wonderful words. So I met YGA actually when I was at university in 2010. I was studying industrial engineering at Sabancı University, and I volunteered in YGA's science workshops that we did in disadvantaged schools. I went to a school every weekend and we worked with middle school students all year long. And I did that for 4 years. And at the end of the 4 years, I was the leader of the whole group, a group of 200 volunteers in Istanbul. I was the group leader. And it was amazing for me. It was like I devoted most of my time to YGA compared to my university, the school. So I graduated, then I started working professionally in Mondelez and Kraft Foods in the US. So after 6 months, I decided to quit and come back to YGA to work in YGA for full time in 2015. And I think the reason why I decided that was because I wanted to work in meaningful projects that had social impact. And I wanted to do that with the people that I love, my closest friends. So that's why I think I decided to come to YGA, and it's been 7 years. And yeah, as you said, now I'm the Vice President and the Director of Science Movement Project.
That's wonderful, and I'm sure very inspiring to a lot of young people out there also. And for our viewers, if you haven't checked YGA's website yet, I would highly recommend you to do that to get a deeper understanding of how the organization attracts volunteers such as Ece and Duygu. And Duygu, here you're really underlining the importance of making the organization attractive to young people who wants to make a difference. And that's really exciting. So the organization gives power to the youth so they can address and make changes in the social space. Can you talk about that approach to youth empowerment a little? How do you encourage them? And how do you help them develop that muscle and develop all these wonderful new ideas?
Of course. So YGA has a double-winged approach in all of our actually work. And what we mean by double-winged is we want to cultivate double-winged youth leaders, leaders of the future. And what we mean is there are a lot of problems in the world. We want YGA volunteers to actually care for those problems, so have the conscience, but also have the competency to be able to solve those problems using the latest technology. And what we do is, once you become a YGA volunteer, first of all, you need to work closely in the field, YGA's field, as I mentioned, like the bringing science to disadvantaged kids. I actually worked around 500 hours voluntarily every year to do this. But at the same time, YGA gave me the necessary tools to work on my competency in terms of, for example, we have mentors, YGA's dream partners, we call them, our advisory board, some of the most prominent people in Turkey. They actually mentor us. They come to our YGA camps, and through the gatherings, through the learnings that we gather from them, we actually are able to both develop ourselves and use that learnings in YGA's field, in YGA's social impact projects. So if you want to make a difference in the world, change something, it's a great platform because, as you said, we're always empowered by the environment itself, by YGA graduates, YGA volunteers, YGA's dream partners. This community enables us to actually have a dream and work on that dream for a better world.
That is fascinating. Thank you, Duygu. I'm going to ask Ece to chime in here. Ece, you have been an active volunteer at YGA for the past 3 years, and you are one of those double-winged individuals Duygu just mentioned. So, and you've carried out science sessions in many cities in Turkey, from Adana to Gaziantep to Urfa. How do you balance your active professional life, especially in like a crazy environment like New York, with volunteering at YGA, especially when it involves traveling to cities in Turkey? Okay.
Yeah, it's actually been 5 years, and because I've been volunteering at YGA since the beginning of college. And so every time when I used to go back for like the summer sessions or like winter breaks, I always had that one period where I would either go to their door and be like, Duygu, do you have anything for me to work on? Because I want to do something, like I have free time. Or during the summers, I would always go to one of the science sessions to the disadvantaged places in around Turkey. It's not as as hard as you would, I think, because once you see the direct social impact right there in the field working with the kids, it just touches your heart. So at that time, you actually know that you're doing something meaningful. You know that you're changing someone's life. You're actually talking about science with a middle schooler, and I'm learning a lot from them. It's not just one way here. It's two-way street. So yes, they learn more things maybe about science from talking to me or anyone else, our professors. But also I'm learning a lot from them. I'm learning how to dream, for example. So it's always a fun time for me. That they're generally the best times of my summer when I spend it at YGA. So I make a deal with my parents. I'm like, yes, I know you're not seeing me a lot, but you know what's coming. So yeah, I guess that's how I'm managing the time. And yeah,
that's great, Ece. We can really feel your excitement, and I think the key points you made here are making a difference, seeing that you're making a difference in someone's life, but at the same time you're learning from them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to now start talking about YGA's perception on success. You generally start by asking, is it possible to be successful when working on meaningful tasks? And sometimes, especially at schools, the other way might be taught, or in our societies. So in that regard, changing that perception might be a little challenging. Ece, I want to ask this to you first. Why do you believe YGA's approach to changing this perception of success works from your perspective?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Because like you said, in school, the success means getting a good grade or memorizing something. Here it's totally different. Here, success means you have to fail, which I did a lot of times. And the reaction that I get from everyone in YGA is like, it's totally fine. Like, what have you learned from it? So I think Taylor is in success in our meaning of success. It means that you put your heart into whatever you're doing. So if you're actually in a project, do you really want to be there? Is the first question, and that's also in the success. And at the end of the day, what I really like is that we get together whenever we're going to doing live sessions in Adana or anywhere else or over in Zoom. At the end of the day, we get together and we have a deep dive session that we call, and we're like, so what have you learned today? What impacted you? What did you get that you think you might use in the future? Or anything that you noticed in yourself that you maybe change or be proud of. So success also means that, developing yourself, finding yourself. I guess it has a very different meaning from the general meaning of success.
Exactly. I think you said it very clearly. It's about developing yourself. And I love that. Duygu, I'd like to bring you in here and ask you also your work to change the perception of success among youth, especially in relationship to co-creation aspect of your programs and how it impacts your graduates' career aspirations.
Yeah, actually, this is a very hot topic in YGA these days because being together with Generation Z these couple of years, we've seen that they say impact is the new success. So bringing impact to the work that they do and changing something in the world, that aspires them to do more. And that's the actual definition of success now. It's going there. Universities or multinational companies, like other corporations, they're not there yet, of course. But we see that generations, like the newer generations, they aspire to be able to change something and see that change and like have a say in something. And that defines, I think, the whole concept of success now.
I love that. Keep learning, keep creating, keep evolving, and keep inspiring each other. I think that's a wonderful approach. And thank you for leading the efforts on this in Turkey. So I want to jump into and discuss Science Movement project now. And maybe start with you, Duygu. If you can please tell us more about how did the project come into fruition. I know that YGA wants children to love science. You want them to be curious and ask questions. But on the other side, Science Movement is more than encouraging children to approach science with a new perspective, right? And on the other side, this program is appealing to teachers as well. It involves teachers and it's creating a new ecosystem for them to teach creativity. Can you share with us the vision of the program and how it also relates to teachers' professional development while investing in children?
Yes, of course. So it all started with this one sentence, talent is everywhere, opportunity is not. That's how we started Science Movement Project very early on, maybe beginning of 2010, 12. We would go to schools with science kits that we bought from, online or from the US. Like we would buy very expensive kits for an NGO and we would take them to the schools and we would just want to play with them, with the kids to encourage their curiosity. And after a while, the kits were expensive. The material was not as good as what we wanted. So YGA volunteers, graduates, they came up with twin science kits. So electronic modules coming together with Lego, just showing a child a very easy way of coding the algorithm mechanism. So we developed those kits, and we started to go to the schools using these science kits. And we saw amazing progress in the kids' curiosity, like we do pre-test and post-test. And what we saw was a lot of children, they said, oh, science was not hard. It was actually quite fun, because they think that they're playing with a toy, but at the same time, they're learning about the basics, fundamentals of science and technology. And another thing that they developed was they would see problems outside of their environment, and they try to solve those problems using the science kits. So this is a great notion, because after that, they start thinking, oh, maybe I can, I have the courage now, I have the competency enough to solve the problems that I see around myself. So, and it brings self-confidence to them. So after doing the pilot sessions at schools, we went to the Ministry of National Education in Turkey, and we signed a protocol with them. And over the last 3 years, with their help, we sent science kits to all around Turkey. Every year, 500 schools. We sent 5 schools to each of these 5 kits to each of these schools. And of course, sending the kit is not enough. We need to train the teachers on how to use these science kits in their daily curriculum. So after sending the kits, we have an online education platform where we meet with the teachers and give trainings on how to use the kits. After coming together with these teachers, because they're the fundamental effect of why the project is actually sustainable. Without them, we don't know if the kits are being used at school. So after meeting with these teachers online, we realized some of them are really, they do things outside of their work area. So maybe they're not expected from the school, they're not expected to do these science sessions, but they volunteer. They say, I do everything for the education of my students. We pick those up, like we meet with them on another program called Role Model Teachers Program. And there we help them develop their skills in terms of STEM education, science, as well as their personal skills. They feel unvalued, like they don't think that they receive the value that they actually possess from schools, from the government, whatever. They don't feel valued. And this program actually helps us to feel, to show them that you're very valuable in what you do. You're changing the world, you're changing the mindset of those young students. We give them that, and we also, give them trainings to make them get prepared for the latest technology and tomorrow's world. So that's what we do in Teachers Program.
That is really inspiring, Duygu. And Dr. Mehmet Toner, when he was explaining to us Science Movement Project, he said, we're not really trying to aspire young people to be scientists, but we want to encourage them to be curious. So what you said exactly is what he also said. It's about giving these young people the opportunity to ask questions. And it's also wonderful that you're changing the teachers' perceptions about themselves. So it's a win-win situation. So wonderful. I want to bring Ece back in now in here as about her experiences as a volunteer in this program. How did the program impacted you? Are there any set of skills that you've learned as a YGA volunteer that now you bring into your professional life in New York?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot. But to start off, I guess I would have to say, you also experienced the growth mindset that we were talking about in these sessions, because in a way that when I first went to, I think it was Şanlıurfa, where I worked with Syrian refugees, and I really did not have the communication skills to how to talk to them, how to teach something, or not teach, but how to build something together. So I got to learn that on the way. I got to learn the other person, who the other person is, and how to communicate with them, understand their pain points, and try to listen to them. That's also another important aspect that I learned, is to first listen to the other person, listen to their problems, and then get together, talk about it, and create something, a solution out of it. So I guess that's one thing that I learned that I'm still using today as a consultant. It really helped me a lot. But also, I learned to see different points of view. So I have a life in Turkey. I have a life in New York. I have this bubble around me with people, my community. But there I get to break that bubble. I get to see and hear different points of views on different topics, on science, on art, wherever. And yeah, that's the second thing. And I guess also being, I saw whenever I go into a session, generally starts with a couple of students asking one or two questions, and then at the end of the session, every like me, there's always a volunteer. Every volunteer has at least like 6-7 students around them asking different questions. It can go up as high as, can we build these, ecological houses in space? And I'm like, I've never actually thought about it. So being able to seeing them asking, being so curious, asking very different questions and dreaming above and beyond, it just also gives me the courage, the confidence for me to do the same thing in my everyday life. I guess, yeah, those 3 points have really had a big impact on me.
I'm sure you're inspiring right now a lot of people to volunteer with YGA by sharing your experience. So thank you so much. I am, as I learn more about YGA, I get more fascinated by the amount of programs developed by the organization's graduates. So you're not only empowering youth, but also through them and by giving them the tools they need, you're also addressing a lot of different social problems, and through them creating a ripple effect in our communities. Right? Duygu, can you tell us a little bit more about some facts and figures about YGA's reach and impact?
Of course. Maybe I can start with the ventures that YGA graduates have founded over the years. To give a few examples, We Walk Smart Cane for the visually impaired. It was chosen as one of the best inventions of 2019 by Time magazine. It was also given an Edison Award in the healthcare field, and its success is growing day by day. It's being used in a lot of countries as well, more countries every day. Another venture is Twin Science, as I mentioned with the Science Movement project. It's an edtech company, and it's been selected as one of the fastest growing edtech companies by Deloitte Technology, Fast 50, won BET Awards. And recently, Twin won Smart Toy Awards by World Economic Forum with its artificial intelligence kit. So this is maybe some of the successful projects that I can mention. Other than that, what you mean by numbers, or what else can I share?
Is there any numbers around your impact you'd like to share? Would love to hear those as well.
So maybe I can share Science Movement. It has reached more than 500,000 students in the last 3 years in Turkey. So actually, when we send a science kit to one school, around 400 students benefit from the science kits. So it's been, more than 500,000 students and 1,300 schools. So that's actually the biggest impact I think we have in Turkey right now.
I think that's a proof to the ripple effect that I just mentioned you have through the programs you implement. And congratulations on all those awards. That's wonderful, fascinating. I'd like to maybe bring us in to discuss the impact of this pandemic. All of us have been overwhelmed and impacted by the pandemic. And I believe especially it has been really difficult for youth who need more personal interactions. Right? How were you affected as an organization and how did you respond?
Yeah, so all of our programs, of course, and camps, they converted to online in March 2020. We actually had a camp that weekend. So in 2 days, I think we decided, okay, we're going to do it full online. And I think it was a success. Also, we had a teachers program. It was a physical camp in Istanbul. We said, okay, we're not doing the camp, but we will do this whole month of online program with them. And that's how the actually role model teachers program started. So we converted to online. Of course, we couldn't go to the schools physically, but when the schools were open, we kept on sending the science kits. And some teachers actually helped us use those science kits for the kits to be used by their students in their homes. They would bring it and then take it back, bring it to another child, and they would help them, use those science kits. We also conducted online science sessions with those kids who had access to internet and also, a smartphone or a tablet. YGA Volunteers every weekend, again, did the online curriculum of the Science Movement project. We used the online application of Twin, the Twin app. It has a lot of wonderful experiments that teachers, students can use in their homes, like some stuff that they can find in their homes and do the experiments with the help of YGA volunteers. So right now we're actually doing a hybrid process. We're not fully back on physical science sessions, but actually we found it quite efficient to do the online science sessions. So we continue that with the teachers and the students, but we also started going back to the schools. Actually, with Ece, we were together in Gaziantep in July. So we did a science fair in Gaziantep. I think around 400 students came to that fair in one day. So we really missed the field. We love doing our field work, but now actually, because of the pandemic and because of the efficiency, we do it both physical and digital, so a hybrid program.
Being able to assemble a team to respond so quickly is impressive. So congratulations. As I ask you to share your last thoughts with us, I want to thank you all for the work that you're doing. You are doing a lot. And as far as I can tell, you never stop innovating. So that is wonderful. Ece, can you share your last thoughts with us, maybe in conjunction with all the skills the program is intending to grow in the volunteers? What have you received and what was the aim of the program? How does the program work with volunteers to grow those muscles?
Yeah, I think the best explanation is, like we said in the beginning of our conversation, is growing double-winged leaders. This includes volunteers. This includes you know, the high level YGA people like Duygu, or as well as this includes the students that we go to. So I think it's very important today to understand the problems with costumes, and you know, not just coming from and I don't know how to say it, not just coming from our minds, but also from our hearts, and being able to have that technical skill to solve these problems. That's also that's one of the biggest important factors here. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do here with our sessions, with our within ourselves. So like you said, continuous development, continuous innovation. Yeah.
It is, it's wonderful to see that YGA really works to improve the social emotional development of its volunteers. In a way, you're promoting growth mindset, which you mentioned earlier, Ece, and teaching all these young people to have the courage and the critical mindset to make change in our world. So it is really a cultural change, and you're helping them to internalize this mindset, which is not very common in Turkey. So that's wonderful. It's Duygu, is there anything that you would like to add to this?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add, if you want to be a volunteer at YGA, like be one of the bright minds like Ece, we have a YGA summit this weekend. It's a great timing actually for this talk. You can just like apply, and after the process leads you to being a YGA volunteer. I wanted to add that.
Duygu, can you share how they can apply? Is it on your website?
Yes, it is. All the information is at yga.org.tr. Perfect.
Okay. I think now a lot of our viewers are wondering how they can support your amazing work. Can you tell us how individuals and corporations can support YGA's Science Movement project? If you can also mention the cost of the science kits, and how what our donors should expect at the end.
Yes, of course. So we actually have a campaign for our donations, for our donors, individual donors, in TPF's website. And there we actually try to fund, our aim is to fund 85 schools by the end of this year. And supporting one school requires $1,200. And as I mentioned before, it benefits 400 students on average in each school. So 5 kits are being sent to these every school with this donation. And after the kits are being sent, as I said, we train the teachers on how to use the kits. There's also logistics and operations costs involved. So it's $1,200 per school for 400 students. And yeah, for the corporate donations, of course, we work closely with them in YGA's strategic partnership projects. So we can do bigger projects with them, including science movement, of course. So that's another topic that we can also discuss, is if anyone's interested. But yeah, so when you donate, like if you're passionate about reducing the inequality gap between the public schools and the private schools in Turkey, who actually have a lot of these tools in science. So if you're passionate about reducing that inequality, I think this is a wonderful way to start. So yeah, that's what I can say.
I'll repeat Duygu's call to action, because this is a fabulous initiative. So we are targeting to support 85 schools by the end of this year. 1,200 support one school, and with that support, you will be able to reach 400 students. And so that's about $30 per student. That's wonderful. And you're not only providing science kits in actuality, but you're giving these kids dreams. You're teaching them to dream. And it just said this, I think they're
$3, just to correct, $3 per child. So,
yes. Yeah. Thank you for correcting me, Duygu. I did not do my math well. So I was just saying, as Ece mentioned this earlier, I noted that you are teaching them dreaming above and beyond, so becoming part of their dreams. So this is a wonderful opportunity both for individuals and companies to really support a critical and a transformative initiative for youth. So I hope you consider making a contribution. Thank you, Duygu and Ece and everyone at YGA for the wonderful and inspiring work that you're doing. We cannot wait to see the impact these science kits will have on the future generations of Turkey. So hopefully we'll maybe gather again in 10 years to talk about the impact. And also thank you to our listeners. It's wonderful to know that you want to learn more about this wonderful program and all the activities that Turkish Philanthropy is supporting. Thank you for participating. We hope to see you again at the next Voices of Partners. See you next time. Thank you, Ece and Duygu again.
Thank you.
Thank you.